I don't know if you know it, but what you're listening to is important. This is the work of Alessandro Marisu. He can be found on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Alessandro Marisu. That's Muresu. Why am I playing this? Because it's basically perfection incarnate and nobody cares. And, you know, what we're doing right now is messing with frequencies and playing with time. So strap yourself in. It's going to be fun. Maybe you're like, why are you playing this guy's music, lady? I like it. And it puts me in a place that I'm not at all the time, in the sense of day-to-day living. Like, I suppose what I wanted to talk about was the word drone. And Ailes always considered his music drone. But when I started thinking about drone, I was thinking about ants and about bees, the worker ones that sacrificial, like more of them will be made, and I didn't like that. I don't like how certain words have been put into our vernacular as an innocuous kind of derogatory thing. If we go to the etymological dictionary, I love etymology, the meaning of words and where they come from. But then again, I don't know how much I can trust the internet, but they say drone, noun, Middle English, drain, drone, male honeybee, from Old English, drawn, drain, from Pro-Germanic, drawn. Source also of Middle Dutch, drain, Old High Germanic, treno, German, drone, with an H in the middle. Probably imitative. That comes from Lithuanian. Given a figurative sense, idler, lazy worker. Male bees make no honey, meaning pilotless aircraft directed by remote control from 46. They were talking about drones, pilotless aircraft in 1946, based off of etymology. If you go to it as a verb, it's mid-14th century, drunen, to roar, bellow, to give forth a monotonous, unvaried tone, hum or buzz, imitative. All right, well, let's get down to science. I brought up the whole thing of bees and ants. And the definition, excuse me, talked about this drone from the worker the worker insects or whatever, they have a language, right, between themselves that is different. And it seems to me that they do a lot of great things, and somehow, some way, somewhere in the whole construct of putting things up and people talking about it and impressing certain attributes upon these entities, that idler, lazy worker, no, that seems like propaganda. Like insect propaganda. Bees and ants are now idlers, lazy workers, not doing the job they're supposed to be doing. Dude, please. Anything that is not human is probably doing what it should be doing. You know what I'm saying? Why? They are just born into knowing, which seems strange for a human because, most animals like walk or swim shortly after they're born. Birds seem to take a little bit longer to get their bearings when it comes to jumping out of a basket at the top of a tree. What if you cross-reference all of that stuff and then take it into consideration? It is certainly traumatic for a bird, a little baby bird, to jump out of the nest or fall out of the nest before they are equipped to I want to say deal with gravity, but we're bigger than that, right? Gravity. They're just not ready for their experience. And that's cool. Except for when it's, not, because some neighborhood cat smells baby bird and is like, this is going to be the perfect snack for my afternoon. Shit happens and we observe it. The drones, what the drone is most certainly, it's not lazy. It just exists. And it exists without us having to create a subdivided category for it to exist. Even when things are silent, they're not that quiet. Not if you're actually listening. So the drone would be the consistent thing that is around or beneath or within whatever silence is in your perception. Because, there are people who fall asleep in busy cities with the sound of traffic, and to them, that is their drone, the traffic or the rain. That's why we have these sound-making machines that are trying to make you feel comfortable. They're giving you a quote-unquote white noise, something that you understand is on the periphery, outside of you, consistent, and not necessarily controllable, but affects your overall ability to transition to other places and spaces in the construct. What is the construct? I don't know. Tell me your construct. My construct, I've talked about in various ways. I've written about in various ways. Make art that represents it in various ways. I'm kind of sick of mine, unless somebody can just fix it, right? But you're over there doing your thing. How are you going to fix my thing? Not realizable. So what then? Well, the curiosity is in other people, most definitely, because My dreams are weird. My life is kind of weird. I notice stuff. People don't agree. But that's my life. What I think is so interesting in the world at this point is that we have a lot of freedom in a certain regard to create what we want to create. But whatever the construct is of what the benefit is for doing that stuff is completely imbalanced. You might not even know it, but what you're listening to right now is prophetic, and there are no words. It's doing something to you on the inside by just having it play. Now think about that. This is all available to you to explore without having me talk around it or by it or near it. You could literally just close your eyes, put this stuff on, and go on a journey. But who wants to do that? Right. Personally, I come from a generation of people who just want to get fucked up and drunk and all these ways of disassociating. But had I stumbled onto something like this when I was younger, it probably would have positively scrambled my brain in a different direction. But it's up for your perception on that, for sure. Where are we at on this? Mm. I feel like anybody could listen to this and then narrate their own life with it and feel satisfied that they had like a very personal soundtrack for themselves in a thought that they were extrapolating, but people don't really give you permission to do that. And actually today I was thinking, I wonder if I should ask my uncle how long he's been talking out loud to himself. And we have a weird interaction where he'll keep talking to me and walk away, but he'll also work out his feelings out loud vocally by walking away from his situation. But other people might be listening, and, I just get a weird little joy in myself when I think about him trying to get the shower curtain rod placed above the tub, and it's not working the way that he wants it to work, and he's using all the worst words, which are not a normal part of his vernacular. Oh, so cute. It's just so cute. And to himself. I don't know if he notices how often he walks away while he's talking out loud, or if he notices when people walk by and he's talking out loud. Um, what I see it as, is a dude who is going through a lot of emotional output, and he doesn't have a lot of outside connections to consistently bounce off these things that he's experiencing. And so by talking out loud, he can get it out of himself in real time in a healthy way without reacting to certain stimuli that might make another person want to throw a heavy object or something. And I think that's great. That's beautiful. I love to see that. But it's frustrating for me when he's talking to me and walks away, because it's like, then I'm just, this is weird. I'm just an extension of his mind at that point, because he already talks out loud to himself and walks around. And so if he's talking to me and then walks away, it's like, I don't actually exist, but I kind of do in his reality of him working his stuff out. Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy. I just can't even. But I will, and I do. So that's what it is. I've gone through phases in my life where I talk out loud to myself, and mostly it was just when I was trying to memorize stuff in a theatric way where, you're really embracing a feeling and a beingness and a body movement and blah, blah, blah. And then the lines and the facial expressions. That's when I used to talk to myself out loud. But these days, it's rare. Is that healthy or not? I don't know. Ooh, but I like this guitar. I think what I've learned about words and why, obviously, I'm somewhat verbally constipated. So I feel like I have to just like take my face off the world and then just talk about stuff, is that with this talking out loud to yourself stuff, you can work through things, but then people start to look at you weird. So for me, I need a reason to talk out loud. So it's cool to talk to my dog or my cats, or to like try and coerce worms out of the ground so that I can harvest them and worm farm. Like, how weird is that? So what? You spend time talking to worms? Yeah, they're kind of a foundation of all things good in the world. World, worm, both start with W. Coincidence? I don't know. You tell me. You can get worms out of the ground without trying really hard, because they are instinctual animals. And I was talking about this earlier. All these other animals literally can walk or swim or whatever within the first hour of being born. And when I worked on the sheep farm, I had to like kind of research some stuff and think about some things. And my question was, how how can a sheep just completely know how to walk and stuff minutes after being born? So then I go into the research and I find out animals are learning when they're in the womb. And I'm like, well, that's pretty profound. But how does that translate to humans? Because humans seem pretty freaking helpless when they're born. And then it led me to the fact that, like, deer or animals that might be seen as prey get this insight in the womb to be able to walk quickly after they're born is like a self-preservation. And okay, I get that. And like, if fish are born in water and they're going to be flipping around anyway, like, of course, why wouldn't they be able to swim? But the idea of sheep being able, or deer being able to walk so easily, if they're healthy and everything, so shortly after they're born, because it's already been deeply imprinted in them that there are predators out there and they need to be able to keep up and move in case that happens. And of course, the mothers all have a maternal instinct, but it's also sort of a survival of the fittest or something. That intrigues me so much. And my friend was telling me, and this is more than once that I've been told this, that cats don't meow to each other. But I don't think that's true. Just in the sense that, like, that's like saying dogs never bark at each other. But he's saying they don't meow. But I feel like I've experienced that happening. And the retort on that was, they're not talking to you. Or they are talking to you. They're not talking to each other. They're trying to get your attention. I'm like, I don't know, man. That these cats are dealing with their whole language, whatever that is. And that's sometimes hisses, sometimes this weird chittery noise. And then sometimes it's like meows. Sometimes it's purrs. Sometimes it's rah, 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 like these drones, you know? So saying the cats don't meow to each other, that they're only doing it for human attention, does not make sense to me at all. At all. It seems more like, no, that's like a subcategory of the overall language, just like dogs speak, or dogs bark, or dogs will just make physical movements. And people will sometimes whisper or shout or yell or use physical body language kind of thing as their marker. Like, the other thing that came up with this same person is that this idea that there are, like, potentially many nipples on a woman that are just hidden through evolution. I'm sorry. This makes no sense to me. Like, I've met people who've had a third nipple, They're all dudes. I have never talked to another female who says that they have a third nipple or any vestige of what could potentially be a mammary gland. Okay. So in my timeline, that's recordable. And so this dude who's a friend of mine is talking about like how ladies can have like dogs or cats, these multiple mammary sacs that go down the abdomen. And apparently it happens, like all this stuff. I am a woman who talks to women, and at one point was not a feminist, but was definitely more interested in women issues. And I have never met a woman in my life who has admitted to having a third nipple or excessive mammary glands after getting pregnant. I just, I almost lost my shit there because my bullshit detector just was like, no, no, no. If this was normal or whatever, there would be more talk about it than me being 39 and you saying this and me being like, what? I've never heard of it. So then I started researching like this whole thing. And what it brought up was circus women with like a third boob, right? And the one person who wrote about it in like 1924. And then the only other credential was just the using that as a source in 2007. So in my mind, I was like, wait a minute, this is false in the sense that what do we know about circuses? What do we know about falsifying medical information in order to get funding, money, or notoriety? And I don't think it's fucking real. It did not feel real hearing it. And then looking at where that might come from, it didn't seem real. And on the same level, right, with the whole circus thing, you could go back to the bearded lady, and now we know, like, women with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is a controllable medical hormonal issue, was probably the reason why they had a bearded woman, right? So did somebody falsify information on one account and make it seem something other than it was, or something else? Also in the research to having multiple breasts, everything says it's more common in men. And as I said, I've met multiple men who admit to having a third nipple, but never a woman. I have never met a woman who admits she has a third nipple. So, friggin' weird sauce? I don't know. Take it, eat it, think about it. Crikey. I super enjoy purging myself of having to think about certain things alone. Forever and all day, I will thank Alessandro. Check his stuff out, man. He is here. He's on Bandcamp. He has a Twitter account and all these things. And I am not prepared to tell you what they all are. But if you go to that little search box and you put in ALESSANDROMURESU, you can't miss him. He's there. He exists. He's friggin' fantastic. Super brilliant. And not for everyone. Oh, isn't that disappointing? Like, if you find him, he's for you, specifically for you at the right time. And let's not even go down the barrel of inspirations. To drone doesn't necessarily mean that you are daft or disconnected. This music is his work, is his life. And I get the gift of sharing in that evolution, basically. So check him out. I'm at madgemidgley.com. It's a place where I write stuff and post some pictures, and I don't care. If you find it, there are all the breadcrumbs to get there. It's up to you to look further or not. Either way, friggin' awesome. I love this. It's great.